Hi all, I'm Al Degan, the creator and producer of the Libby podcast. This 100% volunteer-run show was born out of the Rainforest Alberta movement and features incredible people who are leaders, innovators, and have big ideas. Join me for a casual conversation with After Startup founder Shaharyar to talk about a new look at networking events. Here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to the Libby podcast. Today, my guest is Shaharyar. Did I say that correctly?
Pretty close.
Shaharyar. It's so cool to have you on the show. We met recently over LinkedIn, and I thought, what an interesting fella. This sounds like it's going to be a really fun conversation. And we both agreed to just wing it and get to know each other a bit better, which I think is a really fun way to do this. So why don't we start out with you telling the audience a little bit about who you are and how you got to where you are today, and go into whatever detail you feel comfortable with. And let's hear who you are. So please.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. And I agree. What a fun way to get to know somebody. I was like, we're not even the coffee. It's just like a straight to it. I love that.
Get her done.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Again, my name is Shaharyar. I'm the founder of Afters. I'll tell you a bit about my backstory. So I graduated in 2017, spent a lot of my uni days not finding internships, but rather doing a lot of backpacking. I lived in Singapore for a bit, traveled all over Southeast Asia, Latin America, Africa, Europe. And that really shaped who I turned into, which was that I really appreciated diversity and world culture, you could call it. I left university, no internship in hand, just a bunch of hostel experience. And I eventually found myself working at an insurance company, AIG, did some business development stuff, did my first real corporate job. And it was a great experience, but I was like, this is a bit too big. Now, at this point, I still didn't know what I was really doing. I was just working. So insurance started boring me a little bit, frankly. Okay, let's get out of here. And I came back to Calgary and I joined a company called Shareworks, which used to be known as Solium Capital. It was acquired by Morgan Stanley. And I was like, I should probably get a decent brand on the resume. Now, at this point, I was not moving with intention. I was more moving to stack the resume up in the hopes of landing somewhere with that career. Now, I've been doing all this stuff, but I'd always had an itch for entrepreneurship. I knew when I was a kid, for example, my mom would make me lunch, chicken, Pakistani style. I would sell it on the school bus, $10-12 a pop. I'm like, okay, I'm taking my lunch, I'm selling it because there's no way these kids get access to tandoori chicken at home. And then when university hit, high school hit, I was always buying and selling things, cars. At some point in the pandemic, I was like, bikes, furniture, literally anything you can think of, GPUs. So it's always been in the blood. So I was trying this corporate thing and it was going okay, but it wasn't going as well as I wanted it to. I'm like, I know I have the potential. Why can't I figure this out? Anyways, back to Shareworks. Did the Shareworks thing. It was pretty good, but I need to scratch the entrepreneurial itch. So I left. At this point, I didn't know what I wanted to start, so I became a recruiter. It was a 100% commission gig. They're really hard. I was not very good at it. And at the same time, I got really into like DJing and going to parties and like leaning into a bit of the underground culture of Calgary's music scene. It was tons of fun. Really brought out my creative side. And it also helped me grow out of my friendship bubble that I had growing up. Lived in Montreal for a bit, hung out with a guy who was like doing A&R at a label, was surrounded by people in the music industry. But as I talked about earlier with you, Calgary's very magnetic. So I decided to move back and take another stab at my career. Got picked up by a recruitment firm, great group, great shop. And that's where I first gained my exposure to executives in Calgary's innovation landscape, as well as financial services consultancies, oil and gas companies, etc. Great place. Did some more recruiting there. And eventually we also parted ways. Now, I did some work for my dad as well, the geology consultancy, and all to say that I was really just brushing up my entrepreneurial skills. I was going into smaller companies, doing more, I guess, client-facing and growth work, all to converge at a point where I started my own company. Now, around a month and a half ago, I landed on this idea of, okay, I go to so many of these networking events, and my God, are they so boring. But I have to go, and we all have to go to further our career. If you're a business owner, you understand this. You have to go and have physical presence to pick up new clients or to promote the business. So you have to do it. But you go, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this. And you're stuck there for 8 hours doing the talking and pitching the idea, but it doesn't feel very good. And I was like, well, wait a second. When I'm DJing and like hanging out with people in the music industry, it was the same deal. You're just hanging out with people, it's socializing, but it's so much more fun.
Yeah.
What if we apply that same social dynamic to Calgary's corporate world? And I saw somebody on LinkedIn in New York doing something similar. His name is Andrew Young, and he does these really cool parties for the tech industry, and they're very interesting. They have like DJs and games and like really good introductions for people. So what if we apply that same framework? I'll put my spin on it, and let's try it in Calgary. So that's where I'm at now. I want to create events and host people in the way I like to host people, which is a very, Pakistanis are hosting the old culture for us. And I want to bring that energy to Calgary, host our top innovators, host our greatest minds, put them in a room together and see what happens in a really fun and interesting and engaging environment, unique venues, great musicians, games, really good introductions between people, keeping it small, intimate, and see what magic comes of it.
Right on. What a great story. That's quite a career path so far. And good for you for scratching the entrepreneurial itch so early in your career. It sounds like a really cool idea. And we were talking a little bit before we turned on the microphone, about recent events that I'd been to and how a lot of people just default to the bar. And you go to a bar and everybody's screaming at each other because they can't hear. And you're trying to read people's lips and the music is so loud, you can't even understand why they have the music so loud. It makes no sense when people are trying to talk. And it's just not fun. And I'm at the age now where if it's an event at a bar, I'm just not going to go. Like it'd have to be something incredibly intriguing. And recently I went to a couple networking events at bars and I wanted to be there. I knew who was going to be there. I thought it was going to be really important that I was there and I got to talk to people. And after spending about half an hour just staring at people's lips, trying to understand what they're saying, I just left. And it was like, okay, that was a waste of time. I think that this concept that you were telling me about, where it's a curated experience and there's some things to do. And that's the other thing is like when people go to networking events, not everybody is very outgoing and friendly. And sometimes they just sit there and then they make an appearance and then leave. But if it was actually fun and they could actually have a reason to be there and something to do while they're there, then those natural relationships build of people doing the same thing and being, I'll use the wrong word, but forced to connect with each other.
Yep,
that can be really powerful for sure.
Yeah. And it's interesting you bring that up. I find I'm hyper extroverted, but I'm very naturally drawn towards introvert because I think they always, not always, but a lot of time they have something interesting to say. They just don't, they're not built to go out and just talk about it like that.
Right.
That's just in their personality type. They hang there on the edges and they have a lot they want to be there and they want to talk about what they're doing and what they're interested in, but you have to coax them out of their corners.
Right.
And you can only do it by, as you can say, force them or facilitate their introduction to their people. And you can do it through games or you can do it through like pre-event little social groups you can make through email or something. But you really have to get them to come out. I talk to people like that all the time. And I'm like, what do you need to come to an event and for it to feel really good? And they just want it to be small and intimate and easy. Yeah. Because when you walk into a big venue or a big event, you walk in and you're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I feel that way. I'm extroverted. Imagine an introvert. Be like, oh my God, I'm just going to hang in the corner and maybe drink some water until somebody approaches me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I've trained myself over the years to be more extroverted when I need to be. But ultimately, I'm the guy that would rather just sit in the corner and watch people and hopefully make it through the event. And as honestly, it's difficult. And I've talked to a lot of introverted people, and it's incredibly stressful to be in that situation when you're not extroverted. And to have someone like yourself walk over and say hi is really, it takes a lot of the pressure off, because I don't have to figure out what my icebreaker is going to be when I go talk to people and stuff like that. I'm just like standing there with my water, and then you walk up and say hi, and then it's just having a conversation with somebody, which is a lot easier. Yeah, no, that's cool. And I like the concept. It's cool that you're very, very near the beginning of this project or this company that you built, because now the doors are open to do something really unique and disruptive. And I think I like the fact that you've already started doing a bunch of research on talking to people that go to these events and stuff. And certainly paying attention to the introverts is a good game plan. Obviously, you want to talk to the extroverts as well, but they're a little bit easier to deal with because they're like, let's go, let's talk to people, let's have fun, let's do this.
Absolutely.
Other introverts are like shaking in their boots. What, you're going to make me talk to somebody? That's not cool.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. You just gotta help. You gotta help people find there. If you can be the person who helps them do that and cross that bridge, it's just such a relief. I'm surrounded by a lot of introverts, and I'm the guy who connects my friends to other people.
Right.
I've always been that person. So I was like, if I can just do this for all those hyper intelligent people who are just hanging out in the corner, they've done incredible things. If I can just make their room for them and make it a comfortable room for them, it's actually not that much work.
Right.
It's relatively easy, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just need to figure out who they are, figure out who they want to meet, and make it super easy for them. And you're right, it's the beginning. And I'm trying to adopt the mindset of not just push out what I think would be good for the market, but ask the market what they want and build for them with my twist on it.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. I'm just trying.
Yeah, for sure. It's the timing is good. I think there's a lot of things have been done the way that they've always been done, and it's actually an interesting time to see something new. So I think the timing's good. The curated guest list is a really good idea, because the last thing you want is, let's say you're an IT guy and then you go to an event and there's 16 other IT guys there and there's like nothing.
Totally.
It's like not worth it. It's not worth your time.
Yeah.
But if you know that you're like one of one or two IT guys, and then all of a sudden there's some investors there and there's some insurance people there and there's some other corporate types that you would actually, it would be good to talk to those people, then that all of a sudden makes it extremely valuable. And I like that idea a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What makes something worth it for you to attend? I'm sure you're probably inundated with events to attend. People must send you tons of events.
Yeah.
So what makes it worthwhile for you to say, oh man, I really want to go to this?
Yeah. I think for me personally, and I'm obviously speaking from a very specific niche, but not a bar. So the location is actually really important. I do like free food, and I don't care about drinks. The drinks can be paid or free. I don't care. But to have something to eat is nice. And then a smaller group of people that's got a mixture of interesting industry leaders, and ideally a mix of people that I already know and people that I've never met before. Because the people you already know makes it easier to come in and just feel comfortable. And then the people that you've never met before, obviously you're growing your network. So it's almost like invite people and then ask each of them to invite someone that everybody else doesn't know, or something like that. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's a good strategy. I totally agree. When I walk into a new space, the first thing I do is look for familiar faces. I then go to them. I see who they're hanging out with. Boom, easy in.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same strategy you speak of. And what a great idea. Just asking people to invite their friend. I think that's an obvious one, but I didn't think of it.
Yeah. And then
that's smart.
Yeah. You get that eclectic mix, because, everybody knows people that you don't know. And so, yeah, that's cool. I love that. And then this idea is a little bit it's either here or not, is the concept of having a purpose for the event. It sounds to me like you're your main purpose at the moment is something that would be fun and networking. Other people have a technology topic or introducing a company or something that people are interested in getting to know or something like that, which is one way of doing it. But having some sort of purpose, and the purpose could be networking. Like the purpose can be get out and meet 4 people that you've never met before or something like that could be the purpose. And something that might be really appropriate for you to maybe consider some sort of partnership or something would be Melvin Adekanye, who built this Jam social app that he has on his smartphones where people can go to a networking event and have a purpose at the event. Like it comes up with little like trivia questions, find someone who's wearing orange shoes or like all this kind of stuff, and you get points and stuff. Yeah. And so sometimes that can help people break the ice and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I try to integrate, like my wife especially helps with the games portion.
Nice.
And we did a house party at our place. This is a few months ago, and it's actually for Halloween. And what my wife did is she took little sticky notes and she put it on every single person's back.
Oh yeah.
And she wrote down like a character.
Okay.
And the goal was through yes and no questions, you have to go around asking different people and figure out who your character is. So that's a great example. And it seems like Melvin has a similar idea to this of going to strangers with the preconceived little prompts to help you break the ice. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, because the strangers know that you're coming over to ask them something related to that. So you're not going over and interrupting somebody who doesn't know who you are and doesn't know why you're coming over to talk to them. Like they're expecting it.
I love the idea because I was like, I want to do that again, but I don't really want to put sticky notes on a bunch of executives' backs. So how do I do this in like a clean way? And I also find that I'm deeply intrigued by people's whys or why they do what they do.
Yeah.
It's always been something I eventually try to dive into with people. Mm-hmm. So I like to introduce a bit of a philosophical twist to my events. I like to have some sort of dialogue around perhaps even controversial or at least a
mildly
take. Mildly controversial. I don't want to stir things up too much, but I want to have some sort of discussion point and maybe people can choose sides on it. And maybe that's a great way to understand why you do what you do. So if we talk about AI, then it's, maybe once you get to the age of robotics, which we're already getting to, but should they be granted equal rights as humans? Mm-hmm. If they have emotion, will they have emotion? If they do or don't, then how are we going to deal with it? So it's like these deeper thought-provoking questions. I love to introduce in that parties because it gives you like a shared purpose as to it goes into the deeper self of people and helps them maybe, I don't know, it's just a great social dynamic.
Yeah.
It puts people at odds with each other, which is actually nice sometimes.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't break out into a fist fight.
Totally. That's why you can't go too controversial.
100%.
And you're right. It's just making networking fun. Mm-hmm. Like this should not be soul sucking. You have incredible people in the room together who have really great hobbies and they've done such incredible things. So let's make that easy for them.
100%.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
I like it a lot. That's really fantastic that you're going down this path. And I'm really excited to attend your events and see what you come up with. This is a really fun idea. I think changing the way networking is being done is a great idea. And I'm pretty excited for you and to learn more about what you're going to accomplish. As we wrap up the episode here, is there anything that you're needing? Is there any asks that you have for the community that you could say, hey, you know what? Since you're bugging me all about this, it would actually be really cool if there was an accountant out there that could help me, or if there was is there any asks that you have for the community?
For sure. So a couple of things.
Okay.
So I'm running 2 models right now. I'm actually figuring out which one should work. One, I'm throwing my own parties and building my own community around them. And that's going to be a slow burn, I believe. Mm-hmm. But if people who would be interested in something like this, please don't hesitate to bring them out to the events. Mm-hmm. And I'll make sure I keep you in the loop so it's easy for you to do. And secondly, I'm also doing event planning as a service for companies,
right?
Just to generate some revenue while I figure this out. So if you know of any companies or people who want to host really interesting like client events, product launches, after parties, anything like that, I'd be happy to help.
Right on.
So if you have anywhere in mind, I would love that. I'd appreciate that.
Right on. So that's great. That's a great ask. And if there's a lot of people out there who have companies and they need to throw events for their clients or whatever. And instead of doing the same old thing that everybody else does that doesn't generally work, why not try something a little bit more unique and reach out to Shaharyar? It's time to change the world, eh? It's time to make things more fun and more interesting. The world's a mess right now. Let's make it fun.
Something a little fun and come on. Like Calgary has so much potential. Like this city is a city for dreamers. You can build here. And I've never felt like I've been in a city that has so much room to play.
Yeah.
Like you can just try anything you want here. And people are encouraging and they're willing to give you a shot. So that has to be taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. What a great way to end the show. Thank you so much for being here. It was really a fun chat, Al. And I'm looking forward to attending some stuff of yours in the future.
Thanks, Al. I appreciate your time. Thank you for hosting me. It was very kind of you. And I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person.
Excellent. Sounds great.
Absolutely.
Everybody else, thank you for joining the Leaders, Innovators and Big Ideas podcast. If you'd like to be a guest, a host, or a sponsor for the podcast, please reach out to me. You can use rainforestpodcast@gmail.com and I'll see if I can help you out. Cheers, everyone. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends. Have you ever thought of being a host? Email adeldegan@gmail.com and I will get you started on your journey. Now you can have just as much fun as I do meeting inspiring people and learning new things.
This episode is brought to you by New Idea Machine, a unique blend of a tech incubator and a software development powerhouse. We're not just building software, we're crafting the next generation of homegrown tech wizards. Got a project in mind or looking to hire fresh talent? Reach out and let's make tech magic happen. Visit newideamachine.com for more info.
Music for the show was created by Tony Del Degan.